Okay, so I'm going to show you guys how to add something new to this photo, something that never existed in the photo originally. So we'll start off by adding in, I think soldiers will be more difficult than birds, so we'll do soldiers first. And this is actually in Ireland. So I wonder if we can find like, Highland soldiers. The guys wearing kilts and stuff. This is actually Scottish, but it kind of fits with the landscape. Maybe these guys. Now this image is a little bit small. We are working with a fairly high-res picture here, so that might not work as well. Actually, this guy looks pretty good. Let's put this guy in. Okay, so you always want to click View Image. And from here, I can right-click and copy image. And I can go to Photoshop and edit paste, or Control-V is the shortcut for that. Okay, so there he is. And I can move him around with the Move tool. Now, what I really want to do is take away this background. Okay, because I just want to have him standing on the grass here. So there are a couple ways of doing that. The easiest way, if you have a pretty basic background, is to use the Quick Select tool. I don't know if that will work in this case, but let me try it. So basically, the Quick Select tool is kind of like a brush. You can resize it. And you just want to kind of go over the areas of your character. And you'll see it'll start highlighting it. Okay, so that's not too bad. Let's see if I can get the whole thing here. The hair is pretty similar to the door, yeah. Now it thinks that the door and the hair are the same, so that's why it's doing that. But I can fix that after. Okay, so that at least gives me a good starting point. Now from here, what I want to do is clean this selection up a bit. So I'm going to get the polygon lasso, which is, you might have the lasso tool, but you can find it under there. And I'm just going to zoom in, and anywhere that it's the selection is too tight, I want to add to that. So I can hold Shift, and I can just click to add some points. Okay, it might not be very evident on your screen, but what I'm doing is I'm holding Shift, I'm clicking here, then I can drag a line, see? Then I can make another point, and then I can make another point, and so on. Okay, and then I can loop that back to my original point, and that will add to my selection. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of do this fairly quickly. Oops. Uh-oh, I deselected. Let's go back to my history. Okay. Okay, I'm not going to be super picky right now just because this is a real-time demo. I don't want to have you watching this for too long. Okay, now when it gets to this part, I actually want to subtract this selection because I've selected this area beneath his legs that I don't want. Okay, so I'm going to hold Alt this time. And now my icon has a minus sign on it. It's kind of hard to see on the screen, I'm sorry. Oops. Let's try that again. Okay, so I'm just basically clicking around the outside of this leg here. Okay, and looping back to the start point, and there we go. Okay, almost done here. Okay, now the hair, this is going to be interesting. So what I think I'll do, I got to subtract this selection here. I'm just going to go very roughly around his head, and then I'll show you a trick. Okay, so there's this thing called refine edge up here. This is very helpful with hair, because if I want to show you something, if I was just to select inverse, so I'll select everything except for my guy and hit delete. Okay, it's not bad, but you can see it's a very straight line around the hair. Okay, it doesn't look that great. So what I can do is, I just went back on my history, click refine edge, and now we get the character on a white background, and I get this brush that I can use to paint around the edge of his hair. Oops. I do want to make this smaller. There we go. Okay, so if you just go around the edge like this, it should pick up any loose strands of hair. Oh, that's too much. Okay, let me get a smaller brush. Might have to zoom in. This one might be tricky because it is a very dark background. Don't know if that's going to be any better. Okay, we'll try that. Okay, so once you've selected your entire object from the background, then we can say select inverse and then hit delete. Okay, so that will delete the background. Now I can just click anywhere to deselect and get my move tool again, and I can move him somewhere. So maybe I'll put him, I don't know, right there. Okay. The other thing I can do is adjust the brightness and contrast and whatnot of this guy. If I want to, adjust the saturation. Okay, let's make him a little bit darker. Trying to blend him in with the background. Okay, and if you want to get really fancy, what I can do is add another layer here, and I could even, with a paintbrush, add a shadow. Okay, I'll just get a very soft brush in a black, and let's just add a shadow. Okay, now that's too dark, but I can change the opacity of my layer down just to give him a bit of a shadow. Okay, that's not bad. Okay, so there he is. And I'll show you how to quickly add in birds. So that is the hard way of removing a background. The easy way is if you look up birds, for instance, and if you want to do one of each, you can, but if you just do it this way, then that's not enough, okay? So go birds and go to tools and color transparent. Now this will only give us things that already have the background removed. Okay, so let's get this dove, for instance. Okay, so now the difference with this, with the PNG files, is that you can't just copy and paste it into Photoshop and save the transparency. You actually have to save it to your computer. So let's save it to desktop. I'll just call it Dove. Okay, and then I can drag this into my picture here, and you can see the background is already gone. Okay, maybe I'll just leave that right there. Okay, so that's the easy way to do it, but the other way you can get any picture you want, because I've actually taken the background off this guy. Okay, so if you want to do one of each, that's fine. One hard one, one easy one, and hopefully you guys come up with a cool picture.